Hey, it says this hangout is on the air live. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon or evening, depending on what part of the world you happen to be in. And welcome to Lunch with Len. It is Tuesday, May 5th. And I do not have a special guest to me today. I am your special guest. What I wanted to do today is go back through a couple of guests we've had recently. I've summarized some of the notes, and I just want to talk a little bit about social media marketing in general and what we've learned. I also want to make an important point here. There seemed to be some confusion, and I just want to clarify. Lunch with Len is not a selling webinar. We're not selling anything here. We're here as a mastermind and as a training, as a helping each other with marketing and etc. That's what we're here for. And any perception that we're selling a product was unintentional, is unintentional. We're here to help each other, no matter what our products are. Now, it turns out that most of us are in the same product, so that's a good thing, and hopefully that lets us help each other. I'm going to talk about. We had Antonio Thompson, and we had Jelena Ostrovska on. And while they talked a lot about MLSP, what they really talked about is social media marketing. And the principles, the ideas, the concepts apply to anything. So if you're trying to build a business using social media, what are some of the key points? Let me look at Antonio first. One of the things that's interesting too about both of them is neither one of them have been in the business for very long. Antonio's about 2.5 years in. He started 7 years ago. He was in a company for 1 week and quit, and then he started back up again a couple and a half years ago. One of the things that Antonio emphasized, there are two things that I think that came out of Antonio's talk that I think are extremely useful and relevant. One is he's got a DMO, a daily method of operation, and he gave us a copy of it. So for those of you who are interested in Antonio's DMO, I posted it in the Lunch with Len group. It's in the files section. So you got to go to Lunch with Len and then go to the files, and there's a copy of it there. What I found absolutely amazing is that Antonio told us that he can complete his entire DMO in about 2 hours a day. And I spend almost all day doing the same thing he does, and I think I understand why. He doesn't let himself get distracted at all. He doesn't cruise through Facebook posts. Yeah, you're welcome, Chris. He doesn't cruise through Facebook posts. He reaches out to at least 10 people a day and starts conversations, but he doesn't answer them. And that's where I get myself balled up, and I'm really practicing what I'm preaching here. When he reaches out into the various groups and initiates a conversation with somebody, that's it. He initiates the conversation. He doesn't answer them. If they answer him back, he doesn't respond to it. He just keeps going on through his daily method of operation. And I thought that was a really powerful piece of advice, because I have personally, and I will be the first to admit this, I personally get caught in this trap that if I send somebody a message and they answer me, then I answer them back, and pretty soon I'm into a conversation with them, and you can chew up a whole lot of time doing that and not make very much progress. So I thought that was a really powerful thing. Now, what does he do? He looks for groups for people that are already into network marketing, because once again, we know if they're already into network marketing, then we don't get the objection of, hey, is this a pyramid scheme or any of those other kinds of things. He looks for people that are already into network marketing, and then he looks for people that he can relate to on a personal level. So he's into music, he's a trumpet player, he's in the drum corps. So he looks for people that are in network marketing and like the drum corps, for example. And that gives him a personal basis to initiate a conversation with somebody about what they're doing. And he knows that they're already interested in network marketing, so he can take that conversation any direction he wants to. And I thought that was a really, really interesting piece of advice. So I've been sort of poking around on Facebook a little bit more in the last couple of days, looking for groups. And once again, as I've told you in the past, like I like scuba diving, so I have done some of that searching around in scuba diving. To be perfectly honest, I'm having trouble finding people who like scuba diving and like network marketing also. But nevertheless, that's the concept. And for those of us who are in Asante, I mean, we can poke around. I was poking around today in organic groups, and there is a hell of a lot of organic groups out there. And I don't know which ones are the best ones. I don't have any recommendation, but there's certainly a lot of them. So poking around in organic groups, looking for people that are interested in organic foods. And so, you know, I think that's really maybe a good place for us to begin, for those of us who are into Asante. And I think that everyone who's on today is in Asante. So we'll just leave it there. And that's another thing that I will put on the table. A couple of 3 weeks ago, we had a group discussion where we talked about bringing on people that were building MLSP and learning a little bit about what they're doing. Maybe we can also, maybe we should bring on some people that are building Asante and find out what they're doing. How would people feel about maybe we invite the Bombinator, for example? I mean, she's setting the friggin' world on fire, and it would be interesting to hear a little bit more about exactly how she's doing, because she's obviously using social media to build the business and find her people. At least I think that's what she's doing. So it could be interesting to learn more about what she's doing. Anyhow, I'll put that out there and let the group tell me what you want to do. This is your group. This is not mine. This is yours. And so, you know, direction comes from what you'd like to accomplish. Okay, I see you, Chris. I see you, Larry. Gotcha. So let me just stop for a second and scan down Antonio's notes. I think yeah, Angel would be awesome. I would love to get Angel. I would absolutely love to get her. I may hand that over to you, Chris. You may have more influence with Angel than I do. I don't know. She's so busy, and it's probably a tough time for her, but that'd be fun. That would really be fun. The other thing that Antonio does is he cross prospects people, which I think is really interesting. So when people prospect him, and I wrote this down word for word, he answers them back with something like, hey, John, thanks for reaching out. How long have you been doing blah, 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 whatever they're doing? How long have you been doing it? And are you open to having some help, or are you open to whatever, you know, take it from there. But he doesn't directly cross prospect them, but he reaches out to them and to find out. And so, you know, the simple question, hey, John, how long have you been doing whatever company John's doing? How are you doing with it? Are you having success? Opens the door to maybe they're not happy. Maybe they don't like their upline. Maybe they need some help generating leads, whatever. And that opens the door to additional conversation. So I thought that one was a really good tip too. For when Antonio started, and you know, we all know this. We've heard this so many times. But I'll be the first one to put up my hand and admit guilty as charged. For the first year, Antonio focused on one thing, Facebook. He didn't attend a webinar about Instagram because he wasn't doing Instagram. He didn't attend a webinar about anything else other than what he was doing. And he really, and you know, you can see the result. He's been in the business less than two and a half years, and he's almost L3, and he's building MLSP, and he's got another company on the side. I don't know, I forget what his other company is, but to be honest, but he just focused completely on one platform and one platform only, and got that platform working to where he was getting leads, getting sales, and et cetera, before he moved to anything else. And now he's doing Twitter. So Okay, back to webinars. One of the comments he made that I found was interesting was that he doesn't get on webinars that aren't on the topic of what he's working on. So if he's doing Facebook and it's not a Facebook webinar, he's not on it. If there are webinars that he's interested in, and as long as they're recorded, he won't watch them during his working hours. He may watch them later at night or something if he's interested in them. But he doesn't distract himself. Rick. Yeah, Rick. We all are. And I think that's something we all need to really look at, is how many webinars we're attending, and especially if we're attending webinars on Snapchat. If I'm not going to attend another Snapchat webinar because I'm not using Snapchat. I can't use Snapchat because my phone doesn't work well down here where I'm living right now. It's not on my radar, so it's off the table. There's no sense wasting my time learning about it, and I can't use it. And it reminds me of something that Ray Higdon teaches all the time, which is when he goes to take notes, when he's at an event and he takes notes, there's only two kinds of notes he takes. Notes that he's going to implement right away, and notes that he's going to teach. And there's nothing else. If he's not going to implement it, he's not going to teach it. There's no sense writing it down. It's just wasting paper. The webinars are the same way. So Antonio made the observation that John Lee Dumas said most people go a mile wide and an inch deep, instead of going a mile deep and an inch wide, and that was the point. Once again, if you're looking to build a business on social media, pick your poison. If it's Facebook, fine. If it's Instagram, fine. If it's Twitter, fine. And clear the rest of the clutter off the table. Focus on one thing and one thing only. And I think this is the most powerful piece of advice. We've all heard it many times, and we're all guilty of not following it sometimes. But focus on one thing only, and build that platform, become an expert in that platform, get your leads, get your sales, get it going, and then maybe time to expand. So he goes every day to authority pages, Robert Kiyosaki, Todd Falcone, Eric Worre, Ray Higdon, and engages on those pages, makes comments, and just talks to people. And I just did that. I went out to Ray Higdon's page a little while ago and engaged a few people. So that should work out. And once again, he doesn't respond to people right away. So that pretty much is the summary of what Antonio told us. And again, I looked through Antonio's DMO. It's in again, I'll repeat once more at the risk of repeating myself. Go to Lunch with Len, go to the files section, and it's the top file in there because it's the most recent one that I put in. And take a look at it. I think you'll be pretty impressed. And look at it in the context that he can do that list in 2 hours a day. And I think we can all, I know I can learn a lot from that. Just that simple fact alone. But you can't let other things distract you. Moving on to Jelena. And I mean, I am so incredibly impressed with Jelena. I just unbelievable. And this girl is 21 years old. And, by the time she's 25, she's not going to have to worry about money ever again in her life. She's got it. She's got this thing. And if I were to read my notes from Jelena, they sound a whole lot like Antonio. She fundamentally said all of the same things. She started off in the beginning with no training, no background, and no upline. She started in the same place that a lot of people that get into network marketing start. She had no experience, no background, and no upline, and no support. So she had no idea what she was doing, and she spent the first year or so scattered all over the place. But then she settled in, and for the next year, and her comment was, pick one marketing strategy. And again, for her, it was Facebook. So she picked Facebook, and she dug into Facebook. And then she learned that she also was supposed to be doing Instagram and blogging. She spent less time on Instagram, but she did start to develop her blog. And she follows she follows Ray Higdon. She mentioned Ray Higdon and learning from Ray a lot of times during her conversation. If you go back and watch the replay, Ray Higdon really is threading through her. Yeah, you're right, Chris. But again, so she's doing Facebook, she's doing blogging, and she's doing video. And you know what's amazing is, you know, she said the same things we've all heard from so many people that are new into network marketing. At first, she was terrified of video. She was afraid to get on the phone partially because of the language barrier, and she was all over the place because she didn't know what to do. But she worked through it. Obviously, worked through it. She got over her fear of the phone. She got over her fear of video, and now she's out there. In the beginning, she didn't even know what a lead was, and I remember personally asking that question: "What's a lead?" I remember going to a talk. It was at a live event where the speaker talked about capture pages, and I walked up to him in the back of the room after his talk, and I said, "What's a capture page?" I had no idea. I mean, so we started in the same place, but anyhow. She figured that Ray Higdon took 5 years to build his blog, and if she does it consistently, she can do it in 2 or 3. So she's blogging like 5 times a week, basically, and focusing on Facebook. She is also doing a little bit of Instagram, and then everyone told her to get into video. And her sort of claim was before video, her marketing was a disaster, and after video, everything began to come together. And of course, she got better at video as time went on. She made the comment, same thing. You can't be on every social media. Pick one, go for it. She did a 90-day blitz where she put up a blog post a day, a video a day, messaged 20 people a day, put out 1 email a day, and then follow up with the messaging, the 20 people. And much of that is jumping on the phone. So once again, yeah, Rick, look, it's true. I mean, so many people, and we're getting new people coming into our network marketing business right now, and they may not know what is a lead, and they may want to begin to build on social media. And so there's a lot of people that might need some help. Anyhow, Jelena. We're going to wrap up early today, but Jelena is big into mindset. She's got lots of books. She was asked what her favorite ones were. Brendon Burchard, she's got 3 of his books, but Motivation Manifesto was mentioned as her favorite. She's reading Think and Grow Rich. I found it amusing that she was embarrassed that she has never read Think and Grow Rich before. She's only 21 years old. How old were you when you read Think and Grow Rich for the first time? I can tell you how old I was, and it sure as heck wasn't 21. I might have been 40, or maybe even 50. I don't know, but I mean, she's just amazing. She's amazing, and I'm going to say something else. This is a thought. Younger people. I think from what I've seen and what I'm learning, younger people are more open than older people tend to be about the possibilities. And especially when we start talking about organics and toxins and things like that. And I'm just wondering if we tried to attract some younger people, how that would look and how it would work out. Just a thought. I mean, who wouldn't want to have Jelena on their team? Wow. So, 90-day blitz. We were talking about mindset. The other 2 people she mentioned was the Slight Edge, easy to do, easy to not do, and Grant Cardone. I don't know much about Grant Cardone. I looked him up on the internet today. He's certainly out there. I personally don't know much about him, so I'm going to look into him a little bit more. And in terms of her using social media, she's got a blog post about how best to leverage social media. And she told us that if we want a copy of it, want to see it, just go to her blog, which is JelinaOstrowska.com, her name.com, and put in the search bar the word promote, and it'll take you right to her blog post about promoting with social media. And I did go look at it, and it's interesting. It's well done. So I recommend you go do that. But again, once again, when she was asked, the question was put to her, what is her primary marketing strategy? And I thought her answer was really interesting. Does anybody remember what she said? I'll let you ponder that one for a minute. I had the advantage of listening to her interview again today, so you probably don't remember. But that's basically it. I mean, both people told us the same thing. They told us focus on one strategy, be consistent, and that is the answer to the question. When she was asked, what is her primary marketing strategy? Her answer was consistency. Consistency. Pick a strategy and stay very, very consistent with it. Don't let yourself get distracted. Don't look at all these different shiny objects. Build one platform until you've got it really working well for you. And that's it. Go from there. So both of the replays were posted in the Lunch with Len group. And I think they're both worth going back and watching again. And one of the interesting things I thought of is for any of us who have children and or grandchildren that might be of an appropriate age and or mindset, the Jelena Ostrovska interview might be worth sharing with younger people that we know. Because, I mean, I think we all agree that the old grow up, get a job, get an education, get a job, go to work for the man, retire, doesn't work anymore. And a lot of people were spending money going to college. And that was one of the things that Jelena mentioned. She was applying to colleges when her and her parents talked about whether it was going to make any sense for her to spend the money, which in her case, she mentioned $12,000 a year, which I think I found, that's a pretty low number here in the United States. Colleges are typically much more than that, especially the big ones. I don't know what community colleges might be, but she mentioned, going to college for 4 years, being $50,000 in debt, and that was just tuition. That had nothing to do with travel expenses, books, et cetera, et cetera. And then the risk that you might not be able to get a job anyhow. And the statistics, if you go to the internet and just look up the statistics, they're pretty god awful ugly. I don't remember the numbers, but I know that one heck of a significant fraction of college grads are not getting jobs in the field they were trained in. Many of them are flipping burgers for minimum wage because they can't get a job. So college is a really high risk path these days for young people. So anyhow, an interview from a 21-year-old might be something interesting to share with any of the young people in your life. That's all I have for today. We have a guest on Thursday. Laura Parrish is going to be on Thursday. Looking forward to her. And given the response that I saw today, I'll contact Linda and who else? Who else? Linda. Who else mentioned? Was there somebody else besides Angel that was mentioned? Angel. Anybody else? Anybody have any ideas of who they'd like to invite as a guest? If not, I'm just going to wait for a moment for the chat. If not, again, Laura Parrish is on Thursday, and we will talk again. I'm watching the chat to see if anybody has anything to say. So unless there's a question or a comment, we will shut it down. Looks like the chat is dead. So I'd like yeah. Well, Antonio was. It's just not this month. It was a couple of months ago. He was member of the month. Alrighty, folks. I'm going to shut it down. Bye for now. Thanks, Bob.